Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news from Saba Satellite Channel from Marib. Let's begin with the headlines.
President Al-Alimi meets Western envoys over Eastern Yemen developments.
PLC member Al-Arada calls for stronger governance and administrative discipline in Marib.
PLC member Tariq Saleh warns of looming battle as Yemenis reject Houthi control.
Welcome back onto the details. President Rashad Al-Alimi met today with the ambassadors of France, the United Kingdom, and the United States to discuss the latest developments in Yemen, particularly in the escalation in the Eastern Governorates.
The president praised the strong support of the three countries for the Yemeni people and their legitimate government. He briefed the envoys on current efforts led by Saudi Arabia and coordinated with local authorities to contain unilateral military moves in Hadramaut and restore stability around key state institutions.
President Al-Alimi reaffirmed his government's rejection of any unilateral actions that undermine the state's legal mandate or create parallel authorities outside national frameworks, including the Riyadh Agreement. He stressed the need for forces brought from outside the region to return to their bases.
He underscored that Yemen's central battle remains restoring state institutions and ending the Iran-backed Houthi coup, while confronting terrorist groups aligned with it, warning that any internal side conflicts only serve this cross-border threat. The envoys renewed their country's full support for the Presidential Leadership Council, the government, and Yemen's unity and stability.
Meanwhile, in Marib, member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Sultan Al-Arada, chaired a meeting of the Governorate's Executive Office to evaluate performance across local government departments and discuss existing challenges. Al-Arada called on officials to intensify their efforts amid the country's difficult conditions, stressing that public office is a responsibility, not a privilege.
He emphasized that citizens must remain the center of the government work, noting that no administrative achievement has value unless it improves people's daily lives. Al-Arada also highlighted administrative discipline as the cornerstone of institutional reform and called for stronger coordination, teamwork, and proper planning to advance development at both local and national levels.
Yemen's leadership continues intensive political, administrative, and military engagements as developments accelerate across the country. In Makha, member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Tariq Saleh, said Yemenis under Houthi control are increasingly rejecting what he called the militia's Iranian-backed terror and are waiting for liberation.
Meeting with commanders of the national resistance in Al-Hudaydah and Al-Barah axes, Saleh reaffirmed the forces' readiness to support any front fighting the Houthis and praised recent operational gains. He stressed that the Houthis remain the primary and sole enemy, warning of their mobilization along with eastern coast and antis. Saleh called for unified Republican efforts, saying current conditions favor a decisive battle to restore all areas under militia control.
In Doha, Foreign Minister Shaya Azandani met with Poland's Deputy Foreign Minister for Middle East and Africa Affairs on the sidelines of the 23rd Doha Forum. The talks focused on enhancing bilateral cooperation across political, economic, and development fields, and on supporting shared national interests. The two sides also reviewed developments in Yemen, the wider region, and Europe, and their impact on regional and global stability. Minister Azandani praised Poland's continued support for Yemen, while the Polish Deputy Foreign Minister reaffirmed Warsaw's commitment to backing the Yemeni government and efforts to achieve peace.
In Aden, Yemen's Minister of Public Works and Highways, Salim Al-Huraizi, met with China's Chargé d'Affaires to Yemen, Zhao Qing, to discuss enhancing cooperation, particularly in the roads and housing sectors. Al-Huraizi praised China's long-standing support, including road rehabilitation and equipment for the Roads Authority and Cleaning Fund. He noted that the war triggered by the Houthi militia has caused extensive damage to infrastructure underscoring the need for greater cooperation in engineering training, restoring Chinese-built bridges, and supporting housing projects for displaced families. The Chinese diplomat commended the ministry's efforts and said major projects such as the Aden-Sana'a, Aden-Mukalla routes reflect the strength of bilateral ties.
Still in Aden, where Minister of State and Governor Ahmed Lemles met with China's Chargé d'Affaires Zhao Qing to discuss strengthening bilateral cooperation across key development and service sectors. The talks focused on supporting projects in the interim capital, improving basic services and exploring opportunities in infrastructure, energy and transport. Governor Lemles praised China's supportive role, while the Chinese diplomat affirmed Beijing's readiness to continue assistance and provide technical support in areas of mutual interest.
Aden is witnessing developments and engagements on different grounds. In the interim capital, the 8th Women's Summit opened today under the theme, Our Strength, Our Struggle, Our Efforts, organized by the Wujud Foundation for Human Security with support from international partners. Delivering the keynote, Foundation President Maha Awad urged turning commitments on women's empowerment into concrete actions and strengthen women's participation in peace and decision-making.
She warned that rising violence and declining political representation highlights severe protection gaps, citing the killing of activist Iftihan al-Mashhari as a stark example. Awad noted Yemen's last-place ranking in the Global Gender Gap Index and called for urgent government measures, including quotas and legal protections, while praising support for the Dutch Embassy and UN Women.
And finally, Aden witnessed an important academic milestone with the launch of an international scientific conference. Aden University launched submissions for the first international conference on digital transformation, innovation, and sustainable development, organized in partnership with the Arab Academy for Administrative, Financial, and Banking Sciences.
Deputy Higher Education Minister Dr. Mazen Al-Jafari described the event as a strategic step toward advanced research, innovation, and a technology-driven knowledge economy. He also praised the partnership with IEEE, noting it brings international credibility and connects Yemeni researchers with global networks.
These developments, spanning diplomacy, governance, military readiness, development, cooperation, and academic advancement, reflect Yemen's ongoing efforts to strengthen institutions and build a more stable and resilient future. For continuous updates, stay with Saba Satellite Channel. Thank you for watching and have a good time.